What is up, people? It is MewMonster58. Welcome back to another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager class Alpha Trion, as he obviously appeared in the Transformers 1 movie. Now, this is a figure that definitely hasn't had the best reputation, especially from what I've seen when it comes to reviews. What I will say, though, I don't think it's particularly bad, like right off the bat, but there are issues with this figure that I do have. But regardless, it is nice to have Alpha Trion finally in a figure form that wasn't the mainline version from the actual movie when the movie was being released. So taking a look at the box here, you can obviously see the nice Transformers Studio Series there. You can see the nice Transformers 1. Alpha Trion obviously there as well. The nice artwork here of both him in his robot mode as well as in his beast mode. Then you can see the Transformers in 26 steps. Have some more nice artwork here on the side with the Voyager class right on the side. Then you have some more nice artwork here as he appeared on the front with the Alpha Trion right there, which also looks really nice. And then finally your obligatory product shots on the back, as well as the scene when Optimus, Elita 1, Megatron, and Bumblebee ended up discovering the cave before they ended up actually getting the primes and becoming primes themselves at the end of the day. And so, when it comes to the box, I think they did a really, really solid job, folks. And so, without further ado, alrighty, folks, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager Class Alpha Trion out of the box and in his beast mode. And guys, I gotta say, this mode looks okay for the most part. I think it does represent his character as he appeared on screen very nicely. The only thing, there's two major issues I do have with this beast mode. First off, when you look at it from the side, his legs look really, really weird. I think they're just not proportioned correctly. I get why they made them like this, but especially when you look at the mainline version, that had a much more clean and better and more filled out leg design compared to this. I think they're just a little too long in this department right here. I think they just look a really bit funky. The other major issue that I do have with this beast mode is that the fact that it's so rigid. It has a lot of locking points, and when you're thinking about like a beast mode, you think that they would allow it to be more free, but the back legs are practically unarticulated. Like, they can't really move without him being off balance. And in addition to that, the arms in the front here, the front legs have locking mechanisms right here. You can see there are little pegs right there where my finger is, where they lock in. And in addition, the head is locked in as well. But once you untab them, then it ends up becoming much easier to move around. But at the end of the day, the fact that they have these tabbing mechanisms right here, you can see where that tabs right in. Same thing on this side. And then if you look at the head, I'll show you where it tabs in. You can see right there, it tabs into this little slot right here, this part on the neck right there. So the fact that you even have locking mechanisms to begin with is just kind of lame, in my opinion. Like, I don't understand why they had to have some locking mechanisms for a character with a beast mode, because at the end of the day, it just ends up making the beast mode feel a little too rigid. But when it comes to the actual looks of it, besides the legs, really, he does look really cool. I do like the head. The head looks really, really cool. You can see that. The horn looks really nice. The face sculpt looks really, really good. And then you can see, obviously, the nice detail across the board. That's one thing I will say about this figure, especially when you look at this part here on the back. It does look cool. It's got all the, moss on here, all the, plant growth that, obviously thousands of years of him being trapped in that area was. You can see some nice battle damage here as well on the top. Overall, it looks really good. You can even see some nice molded detail here in the darker gray areas. This is also transparent, rubbery plastic, and it feels really solid all around. It looks really good for the tail as well. Overall, when it comes to the actual looks of this beast mode, it's fine. It's just the legs look really, really long, and he feels too rigid. So for the articulation, if you do unpeg, you can rotate all the way full 360. You can look down, you can look up, and then the jaw also opens and closes. But again, because of the fact that it pegs in the way it does, it's just kind of locked into that pose. And same thing for these arms. You can do a full 360 here. You can bend like right here and stuff like that if you still wish to do so. But at the end of the day, again, it's one of those situations where the fact that it pegs in is really annoying. Rotation here as well, bend here. Like, you have a lot of nice articulation. Even the back legs do too as well. You can bend and stuff like that. But again, because of how it's designed, it's really hard to get this thing articulated without it kind of just feeling off kilter or off balance. But overall, when it comes to the looks, again, my major issue is with the legs. But other than that, it looks pretty fine otherwise. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set Alpha Trion off to the side here, and we're going to do some size comparisons. Alrighty, folks, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, he is a Voyager, so he does have that Voyager size. He's pretty heftily sized, so no major complaints here. Here he is with the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Optimus Prime. the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Megatron, and finally, the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager Class Sentinel Prime. Alrighty folks, and from there it's time to get into his transformation, which really isn't too bad. The major issue I have with this transformation is how tight some of the stuff feels, and it kind of feels like I'm forcing things that I don't want to, and you'll see what I mean, particularly in the chest area. So the first thing you want to do is remove the tail, and then what you want to do is remove all of these purple transparent magenta style spikes on his legs as well as his arms. So on his shoulder pads, on his sort of side of his leg pads, do the same on all of these. Just remove them like so. And what you can do is you can come here to the actual weapon, and then you want to plug them into these holes. So you can plug one in there. You can plug one in right here. Plug one in right here, and then there's one more that you can plug in. I believe it's right over here. And then you can take the horn that he's got, do the same thing, and then you have a bigger hole here at the top, and then you can plug that in like so. And then this will become his weapon that you can set off to the side here. But first things first, come down here to the legs, and what you can do is you can fold the toes down, and then take these, fold these down, and these will sort of tab right into place, and you can straighten the legs out. Do the same thing here, like so. Rotate that down and straighten that out. Then from here, what you're going to do, you can untab the arms and rotate them down. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take this entire section, you're basically going to untab it, and then what you'll do is you'll untab this section here. And then you'll take this entire section where the robot head is, turn this all the way around, turn the head all the way around, fold the jaw and fold this down, and what you're going to do is you're essentially going to slot the head inside of that little cavity where the chest was. Then you'll peg that all into place, like so. Then you can sort of push this down. Then you basically take this entire section and you collapse it. This little peg should rest in this hole right here, and you have to push hard. And this is what I don't like, is to get this to line up correctly, you have to kind of push hard, and you'll be able to feel the snap. But there we go. You have to like really get the head in there correctly and just sort of snap that as best you can into place. And then to do the arms, all you got to do is you got to take these sections, fold them out, rotate this part. Well, you can keep this up, rotate this all the way around, fold these back in, and do the same thing here. Fold this out, rotate this all the way around, fold this back in, and then, well, ladies and gentlemen, but guys, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager Class Alpha Trion in his robot mode. And guys, I gotta say, regarding his robot mode, he actually represents his on-screen character really well. So we'll set him off to the side here, and I'll just try and find a picture of him, and I'll put him right here. At the end of the day, he does represent his on-screen counterpart really, really nicely. I think this is by far the better looking of the two, especially when you're comparing it to that mainline version that released while the movie was being released. Now, when it comes to Alpha Trion, I'll tell you the biggest cog I have with this guy, like the biggest ick, is his articulation in his angles, which really does suck. But at the end of the day, when you're taking a look at the details here, you can see that the head sculpt looks really, really solid, very nice, very nicely molded, very nicely painted, and such a unique shape for a head sculpt too. I really, really like it. The purple looks good, the eyes look good in blue. Obviously, you can see that the weapon just pegs into his hand. But coming out here to the details, I mean, you can see this guy just looks really, really solid all around. I mean, I have no major complaints. Again, the nice moss here on the side really adds to that, battle damage look. And then you obviously have a nice here, and he obviously cleans up really, really well too. Like, he looks really solid. So for the most part, when it comes to his actual robot mode, there's really nothing, in my opinion, that's really bad about it whatsoever in terms of how it looks. Definitely the main selling point of this figure is how he looks in his robot mode, and I can't deny that they did a fantastic job of taking that character that we saw in the movie and putting it in figure form here in his robot mode. So really, really solid stuff all around when it comes to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this guy off to the side here, and we're going to do some size comparisons. Alrighty folks, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, again, that Voyager class scale is pretty solid here. I have no major complaints with the fact that he is a bit taller than the average size Deluxe. Here he is with the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Optimus Prime, the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Megatron, and finally, the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager Class Sentinel Prime. Alrighty guys, it's time to get into his articulation, and here's where he kind of falls off a little bit. So the head's actually pretty well articulated, can look up, can look down, full 360 as well, can look left side to right, or right side to left. Full 360 at the shoulders, which is pretty good as well. Like that, well, don't care about the weapon. Rotation the upper part of the bicep, 90-degree bend at the elbow. No wrist articulation, but you do get full 360 at the waist. You can kick forward and you can kick back, and then you have 90 degrees at the knee. Rotation at the upper part of the thigh, or at the lower part of the thigh, but no ankle rocker pivot. And that really blows because you can't really ever get this guy into a wide pose, like, at all. But other than that, though, this will actually, like, there we go. Snap into place like that. When it comes to his articulation, really the worst part about him is that ankle rocker pivot. The fact that he doesn't have it means getting him into dynamic poses really isn't a thing. Alrighty, folks, and now it's time to get into his reverse transformation, which is more or less just as simple as getting him to his robot mode. So, we're going to remove his weapon. And then what we're going to do is we are going to set it off to the side for the time being. And then what we're going to do is we are going to come up here to the top. And we're going to do the top first this time around. You want to come here to the arms. And this part kind of comes off for me more often than I'd like it to. Rotate this all the way around. Fold this down. And then you can sort of extend these out to get them out of the way. I'll do the same thing on this side. Take this all the way around. You can just cover that up like this, extend it out to the side. Then from here, what we're going to do is we are going to untab this entire section, untab this, take this section, fold it out, rotate it all the way around. Take a second here, like this. And then what we're going to do is you're going to take this head and you're sort of going to put the robot head where the beast head was. Sort of going to peg that into place here. The entire chest section. Then from here, essentially what we're going to do is you can rotate this around, and then you're essentially going to retab this. And what you'll see is that there's a tab on each side here, and you kind of want to line this all up like so. And then essentially what you can do is you can sort of push this in, and then you can just peg that head into one of those pegs right there. And then obviously you can open up the mouth. Then from here for the legs, it's very simple. All you got to do is come down here, rotate these up like so. On both sides, peg those in, or just sort of push them in like this. Then from here, what you can do is sort of straighten out the legs like so. Then you can bend them down, bend this back, fold the toe down. Same thing here, so fold the toe down like this. And then for the arms, like I showed you earlier, there's these little pegs right here, and there are those peg holes right here. Just got to peg these in like so. Rotate the arms around. That. So rotate and peg that in, rotate like so. Straighten this guy out in total like this. Then to finish off the look, all you got to do, take all of these little spikes, plug the big horn obviously on here into that 5mm part at the top of his head. And then what you can do, you can take all the smaller spikes and plug them into his shoulder pads here on his front legs like so. Plug the ones into his legs. All you gotta do left is take that little tab, peg it into this peg hole here, like so. You can peg it in however, peg it in like that. And then, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager Class Alpha Trion back in his beast mode. And so, folks, for my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Voyager Class Alpha Trion, this guy is very, very kind of like okay. His beast mode, for the most part, looks good except the legs. I think they're misproportioned. I also think that the beast mode isn't quite articulated very well, especially because there's so many locking points. If they were to just loosen them up a little bit, he would be really, really well articulated for the most part. In addition to that, his transformation is incredibly simple. Not that it's bad, but also it kind of feels like, especially in the chest area, you end up forcing more things than you'd like it to force, trying to get everything to peg in. But finally, when you get him into his robot mode, he does represent his on-screen character as he appeared in the movie extremely well. I really do like that. He looks really nice. And in addition to that, all of his articulation, except for his ankles, are really, really good. The fact that he has no ankle articulation is a real shame because that's kind of what you just expect expect from figures nowadays, especially in the Transformers line. Transforming him back is a little bit easier in my opinion than getting him to transform into his robot mode. And so at the end of the day, I'm probably going to give this guy like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I don't think that he is worth that Voyager class price point. I think this guy's kind of like a glorified deluxe at the end of the day. It's not that he's a particularly bad figure, but especially when you're comparing him to figures that we've been getting recently, especially when you look at Arachnid, which I will be reviewing probably in a couple of weeks. At the end of the day, Arachnid, she is, in my opinion, like, that is how you do a figure like that. Really, really nice on that end. But regardless, I just think that he's a glorified deluxe, especially when you're thinking about paying $42. Like I said in my Thundercracker review, I was already on the fence of outright recommending Thundercracker because of the increase in price. Here, when it comes to Alpha Trion, it's an absolute not recommendation for me at that full Voyager class price point. Definitely wait for a sale for this guy. In my opinion, he is not worth that Voyager class price point. I am happy to have him at the end of the day to represent all of the characters that we saw in TF1. So I'm happy about that. But for me, I'm also just like, I shouldn't have probably spent $42 on this guy. Definitely not worth it in that respect. So when it comes to me picking this guy up, I did pick mine up IRL, or I think it was IRL, maybe it was IRL, but regardless, if it wasn't IRL, I definitely picked it up on Big Bad Toy Store, so leave a link in the description to that. I also leave links down below to Amazon, as well as Hasbro Pulse, if you guys wish to use those retailers instead of Big Bad Toy Store. But like I said, when it comes to IRL, I've seen this guy restocked at our Walmart more than once at this point, so definitely look at your local retailers, Targets or Walmarts or whatever grocery stores that you guys have in your countries, because this guy's definitely hitting store shelves right now. There's an Alpha Trion that's been at our Walmart, and he's been there for like the past 2 weeks, and no one's picked him up. So definitely go and pick this guy up if you do wish to do it IRL, because it really won't be hard to find this guy IRL if you decide to hunt that way. And so I think that's really it for the review. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.